Is there a wrong way to build Goku? How's it, everybody? Celtic Link here. We're back for another Dokkan battle video. In today's video, we are taking a look at the STR Super Saiyan 3 Goku and trying to figure out what may be his best hidden potential build. So let's go ahead, let's jump on in, let's take a look at what this guy is doing, right? Understanding this guy's passive is going to be key to figuring out what just might be his best build. So let's take a look here. This guy is Movie Heroes or Final Trump card, category Key 3, HP attack and defense 170%, plus an additional HP attack and defense 30% for characters who also belong to Super Saiyan 3 or Kamehameha. On his super attack, he is greatly raising attack and raising defense for the turn, causing immense damage to the enemy. Now, this is all in his base form. While in base, his passive is Key 3, attack and defense 200%. He has a medium chance of performing a critical hit. He has a high chance of evading enemy's attack, that is a 50% chance. And he has an additional attack and defense 150% when performing a super attack. He also gets an additional 159% and chance of performing a critical hit, and chance of evading enemy's attack plus 20% as the second or third attacker in a turn. So he can have up to 70% evasion and a 20% chance to crit as the second or third attacker in the turn, adding on to his already medium chance to perform a critical hit, so that's a 40% chance to crit. He also has an additional attack 159% and an additional chance of performing a critical hit 50% when 59% or less HP. He has a great chance of nullifying unarmed super attacks directed at him. Now, he can stand by into his Dragon Fist mode when 70% or less, starting from the third turn or after the sixth turn. Once in standby, he is now unable to attack until he activates his finish effect. He does have attack and defense 333% plus an additional 159% attack for the first turn of his injury turn. He has a 70% chance of evading enemy's attack and an additional chance of evading enemy's attack super attack, included 20% when 59% or less. So that means he could have up to a 90% chance to dodge if you're below 59% when in standby. He gives all allies Key 3 and attack and defense 59%, and he gets an additional 333% attack when the finish effect is activated after he dodges an attack. So if you really want to take advantage of that super attack effect of his counter, you really want him to dodge first. When he activates the finish skill, he massively raises attack temporarily, nullifies the super attack, and counters with ferocious power and performs a guaranteed critical hit. And the only thing required to activate the finish skill is to simply counter and attack. Now, counters do count as an evasion, so if I am not mistaken, proccing that evasion would proc the 330% attack when he activates the finish effect, because it is typically how it works. So that pretty much outlines exactly what we need, right? He has built-in critical hit, he has built-in dodge, so that really leaves only one option. When we look at the hidden potential system here on the Dokkan wiki, we can see that as an STR type, he has his natural inclination for hidden potential is critical hit, but since he has built-in critical hit, we're gonna want to lead more into additionals. Typically, that's the rule of thumb. If a unit has one of the two built in, you go for the one that it doesn't have. So in most cases, especially when it comes to critical hit, so going full additional, if you had 2 dupes or more in him, that puts him at 15 hidden potential value for the additional attack, right? That means he can get up to a 30% chance to perform an extra super attack, or at least performing an extra attack with a 50% chance to perform an additional super attack. So it's going to be very, very helpful for maximizing his potential, both offensively and defensively, right? Because he is massively raising his attack on that super attack, right? It's important to note that with that additional super, right, in his base form, right, because that's really what you're building for. You're building for his base form. The additional attack basically gives him a max possible defense of 1,333,452, right? That is a really, really good defensive stat for a unit that's just kind of hanging out and dodging, right? Realistically, you're not wanting to throw this guy in slot 1 because he does lose that extra % chance to dodge. So giving him additional attack and making sure he is your standard slot 2 or slot 3 unit, you're able to really, really maximize his survivability. So invest a couple more skill orbs into him, and you can bump that up to about 25, which means you can have up to about a 50% chance to perform an extra super attack. So very, very good. You could also lean into evasion over that, and that's just to increase your odds of dodging an attack. Remember, he has an innate 50%. If you're below the HP threshold, that bumps up to 70 when in his base. When you are in slot 2, bumps up to 70 as well. If you are in his Dragon Fist mode, you can bump that up to 90. You add in the hidden potential value as an STR, again, he can get up to an extra 15%. So that is not 15% in addition to, it's just an extra 15% chance to proc, right? It is a separate proc. It's not additive to the original percent. So there is an argument to there, but I mean, I feel like 70% or to 90% evasion in most cases is probably good enough to warrant, you know, a full additional build with maybe some sub dodge. There's absolutely no reason to give this guy crit. He's got plenty of built-in crit, up to 50 to 60% chance depending on what he's doing in his base. So I think that's probably his best build. So priority for additional attack with sub evasion, it would be my best recommendation, or secondary evasion with sub additional attack. Do not go full critical hit with this guy. So guys, that is it for the video. That is how to build the Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Pretty straightforward given what he's doing in his passive, very much so compared to other units. There's really only one real way to go to maximize this dude's output. So guys, that's it for the video. If you like the video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And in the comments down below, let me know, what would you build for your Goku? Would you rely on those additional attacks, or would you invest in dodge? It's mostly dependent on your playstyle, but I'm curious, how would you build your Super Saiyan 3 Goku? Let me know in the comments down below. Otherwise, guys, as always, thanks for watching, and aloha.